What is up, guys? It's Nick here, back with another Mock Draft Monday. I know it's a Tuesday. Haven't had time to record this. Been a busy week. A lot of stuff going on. But Mock Draft Monday, this one, 12-team PPR standard. We've got one quarterback, two running back, two wide receivers, tight end, flex, five bench, kicker defense. Standard way most drafts are. Sometimes they have three wide receivers, which I like. But we're going to do PPR. I think this is the first PPR that I'm doing. Let's get right into how the draft ended up. So, first round, fifth overall pick. That's a spot we were picking in, by the way. DeAndre Hopkins was my first selection. Obviously, I haven't released my rankings yet, but I have Antonio Brown 1, Julio 2, Odell 3, and Hopkins 4 for running backs and for overall also. So if I was at the 4 spot, I wouldn't have taken Bell. I would have taken Hopkins. So I don't really like getting at this spot because I think Hopkins is elite, but he's not in that top 3 tier that those guys are in. So picking this high and getting a lower draft pick later in the second round, like towards the end, I'd rather have Julio, Odell, Antonio. I wouldn't rather have Hopkins. But I love Hopkins this year. Target monster. Should have better running back play with Lamar Miller. I feel like I've already drafted him in one of my other mock drafts. But especially with PPR, I mean, he's going to be good for a bunch of games that are like 9 for 100 and a touchdown. I mean, that's so many points in PPR. So definitely that was my clear-cut choice there. Wasn't even thinking about anyone else. Next round, I went with Mike Evans. I love Mike Evans this year. Again, target monster, doesn't catch a lot, but you have to think that this quarterback in the second year is he's gonna play better. This is, I believe, Evans' third year now, and it's gonna be Winston's second year. But he's the only guy there. I mean, they have Vincent Jackson, but he's not good anymore. So he's going to be a target monster. Their defense is still bad, so they're going to be throwing. They're going to be behind a lot. I love that selection. I think I have him 6th or 7th in my wide receiver rankings. I'll probably release those in like July or something because obviously a lot of things are going to change. But I love these first 2 picks, Hopkins, Evans. I mean, can't go wrong there. Next pick, Julian Edelman. Again, this is PPR. And I'm a Patriots fan. I mean, he gets so many catches. He's the king of 9 for 90. And if you're in standard, I never draft him because he does get an okay amount of touchdowns for being a slot guy, but he gets so many 9 for 90 games that it's only 9 points in standard, but it's 18 in PPR. And he's just that consistent factor where I have Evans and Hopkins could go off any week. They could have their duds, both of them. So I have Edelman here. Every week he's going to consistently get me points. I mean, his worst games are going to be like 10, 11 points. So I like that pick there. Also, I like starting 3 wide receivers in PPR because I filled up my slots. I have 2 wide receivers and a flex option now. I'm not going to take a wide receiver unless there was a 3rd wide receiver spot, but there isn't in this league that I'm drafting. Just because I don't want to fill up the bench. I want to do running backs next. But you can get running backs that catch later, and it's better. Like I don't draft Todd Gurley in a PPR draft because he's great in standard. But I mean, 100 touchdown in PPR. Wouldn't I just rather have a guy like Woodhead that's going to catch like 6 passes a game? I mean, that's 6 points there, plus maybe it's 30 receiving yards. That's 9. Like that's as good as 90 rushing yards. So you want guys that pass catch in PPR, and there's plenty of those guys later in the draft. So you can wait on running backs in PPR definitely. All right, so next I do start with the running backs. My next 2 picks are Forte and Hyde. I'm not thrilled about these guys, especially in standard. But in 4th and 5th round, I know Forte is a pass catcher. I believe they still have Bilal Powell there. I would have to check on that before I make running back rankings. Haven't even touched those yet. But if they don't have Bilal Powell, that'd be fantastic. But I mean, Ivory's gone, so he should be the lead guy. But Powell is a great pass catching guy and a change of pace. And Forte is getting older, and he's not that great of running back if you watch him. So I'm okay with that pick there just because of the safety that he provides with catching, but I'm not thrilled about it. I would have rather had maybe Duke Johnson. Probably not. I probably should have taken Duke Johnson there. I'm really not sure. He could flip-flop both ways because Duke Johnson also was on the Browns, and the Browns are terrible. So next pick was Hyde, though. Again, I wanted to go running back here. I don't think Murray's that good, especially in PPR. I had him last year on my team. He's pretty good in standard. I mean, he'll get you some touchdowns. He'll get you some catches, I guess. He'll get you a good solid amount of rushing yards. But I liked Hyde here just because there's no one else there. So I think he was banged up last year more than it seemed like before he was out. Don't because guys do play through injuries before they're out for some time. I think he was banged up, and that whole offense was just terrible last year. I think it's going to be improved this year. And I mean, he could definitely benefit from his team improving because, I mean, they were down a lot last year, and you don't really run when you're down. So I think it was just situationally. I don't think he's a bad player. I just think it was unfortunate situations he was put in last year where they were down and he just didn't have opportunity and he was hurt. So I think he'll have a bounce back year. Next pick, I never do this. I just want to test out here. I always take my quarterbacks in like the 12th and 13th round because it's just not worth it. But Brees fell to me in the 6th, and I just felt like that was too far, especially in a league that only has 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, and a flex. I never take a tight end this high. There's no one that I was that high on, and I just didn't feel like filling up the bench when I had the quarterback spot open. And I think Brees is going to be fine this year. I mean, the defense still blows, so they're going to have to throw the ball. And I just don't see his options on offense being that terrible that he goes worse than he did last year. I mean, he did fine last year, especially towards the end. After he was kind of recovering from that injury. This is a rotator cuff or something, some with his shoulder maybe. I think he's going to be fine this year. People are dropping him down their boards. I don't see it. He's going to be great. Next, Ryan Matthews in Philly. DeMarco's gone, and Ryan played fine last year towards the end. I think it's fine because he's a good pass catcher. And again, that's what you want in these PPR ones. And there's really not too many guys left that you're really thrilled about. There's not really too many running backs you're thrilled about in the entire draft, if we're going to be completely honest. I hate taking them, but obviously you have to. So Ryan Matthews there. Next pick, Marvin Jones. I think he's going to have a really good year. I want to see where he actually ends up going come August because he is the number 2 in an offense that passes a ton behind Golden Tate. I mean, all of Calvin Johnson's targets are gone. So I don't see why he shouldn't have a great year. I just don't see it. I mean, he's pretty good if you watch him play. He goes deep, and Stafford can chuck it deep. So I'm fine with that pick. Next, Zach Miller. Love this pick. Bennett's gone to my Patriots, which I love. But, I mean, there's a ton of targets. Who else is there besides Alshon? I mean, he's going to be the number 2 target there. Because also Forte's gone. So many targets are gone there, and he did fine. I mean, he had like 400 yards last year as the backup tight end, 494 touchdowns maybe. Don't quote me on that. But I think he's going to be fantastic. He might be overdrafted again. Don't reach on your tight ends. This is probably the earliest I'd take a tight end, like 8-9 range. I don't take Gronk. I'll probably make a video on telling people not to take Gronk because he's just not worth it. But don't be the person that takes like Jordan Reed in the 3rd round and then he has a concussion in week 2 and you're crying. Like, don't do that. Take a guy late, take a few guys late, and just pick up the Gary Barnidge of this year, you know. Next round, 10, Tevin Coleman. I've been taking Tevin Coleman a lot in these mock drafts. I just think that Freeman's not that good. And I'm not saying Coleman's a ton better, but I'm saying Freeman's an injury away or a couple bad starts away from losing that job. And I think people are overestimating what he did last year. Started off dominant and then ended the year real poo. I mean, it was bad. Like, he did terrible at the end of the year. So Coleman, I love 10th round. I mean, I take Chris Thompson. Like, are you serious? I'd love to take Tevin Coleman in this spot. I mean, that's perfect. So next, Marcus Wheaton. He's the number 2 in an offense that chucks the ball. I mean, I don't understand why he's in the 11th round right now. Like, Bryant's gone. He was drafted in like 10th, 11th round last year when Bryant was there. I just don't get it. He played good last year. He had a few good games with Bryant, and now obviously Bryant's suspended, so he's not playing for the entire year. Antonio Brown probably going to get like quadruple covered, so I don't see why he's this far down. I'd love him. What is he, like my wide receiver 5 at this point? Yeah, 6, 5. He's my wide receiver 5. So he doesn't have to do good. He's just going to be like bye weeks and he could go off. Like, I already have Hopkins, I already have Evans, Edelman. Like, he's not going to start right away, but as a bench guy, perfectly fine with that. Next is a guy I love this year, Jameis Winston. I think he's being undervalued in drafts. He was a rookie last year and he did fine. I mean, I didn't like him last year, because he was a rookie and it's tough to learn offenses, but their defense is bad. So they're going to have to throw. He's got another year with Mike Evans. I mean, he's got 3 guys that are like 6'5", 6'6", and up. I mean, he can throw a ton of touchdowns. They don't give the ball to my boy Doug Martin. Loved him last year. Drafted him like the 6th round. Won my championship for me. But they do not give him the ball, and he runs the ball in sometimes. Love that pick there. Love taking Winston. Not really as a number 1, unless you want to do like what I do in maybe 11th and 12th round. Just take 2 guys. Maybe take like Winston and Dalton or something, and just stream them basically. But I'm fine with taking Winston. The next 2, I always do defense 13th, kicker 14th. And it seems like everyone I do New England and Vinatieri. But, I mean, obviously, I'm a Patriots fan. I'll take the Patriots defense if they're available. But really just take anyone. Maybe look at the first couple weeks and see who's playing a bad offense and pick them. See who's playing, probably not the Jaguars this year, but see who's playing like the Rams, teams like that. And then kicker, honestly, it doesn't matter. Just pick a kicker on a good team. So, that's the end of the draft. Hope you guys enjoy. If you did, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.